You're listening to the Holistic Spaces podcast brought to you by Mindful Design Feng Shui School, episode 357, Gratitude Rituals with Feng Shui. Welcome to episode 357 of the Holistic Spaces podcast, where we hope to inspire, educate, and empower you to create your own holistic spaces that nurture and resonate with you. Laura Morris and Angie Cho are the founders of the Mindful Design Feng Shui School and authors of Mindful Living, a guide to the everyday magic of Feng Shui. We teach Feng Shui online at mindfuldesignschool.com. You can sign up for our mailing list for special free content, workshops, and events available only to our newsletter subscribers. And right now we have a special program available, our New Year's Reset program, to welcome the energy of the fire horse, which is in 2026, and to gently say goodbye and learn our lessons from the year of the wood snake, which is the year that we're in right now. So we hope you'll check out our little mini course. We do it every year. It's super fun. You can learn more about it by visiting mindfuldesignschool.com, or you can join our mailing list and it'll be in your inbox, information about it. And you can join our mailing list by visiting mindfuldesignschool.com/join.
Hello, everyone. So, we are going to talk a little bit about the idea of gratitude. And gratitude is a popular theme at this time of year for many of our listeners are in the US. But even if you're not in the US, you're moving toward a time where you're spending a lot of time with family, you're focusing on the home, you are taking stock of the year. So there's a lot of sort of coming together of this concept of shifting your mindset and focusing on things like gratitude and being thankful for different parts of your life. And what is popular as well is this wonderful time to be able to intentionally cultivate gratitude. So for many of us, we can get caught up in what's not great, what's not working our way. And if you actively and cultivate this sense of gratitude, it can really improve your well-being. And actually studies have shown that practicing gratitude can actually impact your well-being. It can improve your relationships. It can help even with your physical health. It even has, it impacts that. So being thankful and showing gratitude to others is, yes, a social nicety. It's something that we should all do to be polite, but it can also translate into practicing to bring more meaning into your life, more resilience into your life when things get a little bit difficult. So this time of year, many of us want to reflect on this concept. And so there's different ways you could think about it. You could simply just see the world as being a gift rather than all the burdens that are around you. And this time of year can be a lot for people. There's a lot of things that are put upon us. It's busy. I mean, generally, all the time, it seems like everyone's feeling like they've got a lot of things being put upon them, and it is quite burdensome. So it is a good practice to try to develop this, seeing these things in your life as a gift. You can practice to awaken this inner peace, this generosity, and it can feel really empowering. And when you're physically in your home and the way it's manifesting might be just gathering with friends and family or leaning into the energy of this season. We're going to be talking a lot more about this over the next few podcasts. This time of year, we're moving into water energy, which is a very quiet time. It is a time of reflection. And it's the perfect season to sort of quiet down and to sort of really take stock of what you are grateful for. So gratitude is maybe less of a feeling and it is more of a mindset. And in order to sustain and work with the feng shui work you're doing as well, to bring harmony to yourself, as well as we're obviously trying to bring to our space.
So why focus on gratitude? Gratitude can be such a powerful way to shift your perspective. Think about this. Have you ever noticed that one negative thought turns into many? And the more that we walk that path of worry or negativity, the deeper it gets because we're emphasizing that negativity and that worry. And so we're paving a deeper and deeper path each time we start to focus on these negative thoughts. But when we choose to focus on gratitude, on thoughts of gratefulness with some intention, as well as, sometimes it's not so easy to stop the negative thoughts because it's very familiar to us. But we have an invitation, no matter how maybe uncomfortable or unfamiliar it seems, to start a new path, to create a new path, a different path, one that you haven't walked over and over and over again. And you can choose what that path will be. It can be something different. It could be lighter. It could be more positive. It could be happier. It could be with more gratitude. And gratitude is a great guide to embark on this new path, to find a new compass to go by, another journey to create. So gratitude can help us to see more opportunity, to see a clearer path, to see a new way to move through life, and helps to show us that life isn't just about challenges that we've created, that instead we can look at these situations or challenges as opportunities to grow and evolve.
And you might think, well, what does gratitude have to do with Feng Shui? But Feng Shui is a practice for those of you who are familiar with it or have been practicing it. It's obviously a mindfulness practice at its heart, and Feng Shui is about shifting your perspective. And a lot of times when people start to dabble in Feng Shui, there's a lot of like wanting to get things, like have things and change things in your life. And there's can be some frustrations, right? So it's sort of like, well, I want a better job, or I want this, or I need this, and so by changing the way you look at some of the things you would like to impart with Feng Shui, changing that shift, it brings in this idea of gratitude. So it's almost like if you layer on the idea of being thankful, of being mindful onto your Feng Shui practice, I think personally, and I know Angie feels this way, it lands a little bit more deeply and it takes that grasping away from it, right? From this practice, which isn't the best way to practice it. And a lot of times there's a particular area of the Bagua that we even talk about specifically for gratitude, although we're going to talk about how all the Bagua areas are connected to gratitude. And that is the wealth or abundance gua. And so the wealth and abundance gua is one that is obviously incredibly popular, and people want to manifest more wealth. They want to build more wealth. They want to be more prosperous. And we all want these things. And sometimes when people are struggling with that, and they're getting really almost, it's kind of a defeatist approach to it. You have to shift, you have to turn it on its head and shift it and start to look at, okay, that area actually also has to do with being grateful, having gratitude, having an idea of contentment around the wealth that you hold already. I know this sounds trite, but it really is a good way to sort of get out of that hole of like, oh my gosh, things are just not working. So Feng Shui can become a tangible way to connect gratitude to your own life, but you can do it through the space, which is what we do. That's why we love Feng Shui, right? We can take these abstract concepts and we can plug them into things you can physically do in your home.
So, we want to offer you a simple feng shui gratitude ritual. Let's walk through this small, meaningful ritual that you can do at home. First, choose a meaningful object. It should be something significant to you. And if nothing comes to mind, you could also simply opt for a candle. It could be a real candle or a flameless candle or even a feng shui crystal. Remember, light is a powerful feng shui adjustment.
The other thing you can do is to write a note of thanks. So you can choose someone or something that you're grateful for. Take a fresh, unused piece of paper. Maybe you even bought it specifically for this, which is even better, and a brand new pen, ideally, or a really special pen. And then you're going to slow down and you're going to treat this act of writing this. It could be a very short little message of thanks or gratitude. You're going to treat it like a ceremony and you're going to write it with intention.
And then you'll find the matching area of the Feng Shui Bagua mandala. You look at the Feng Shui Bagua mandala. If you don't have a copy of that, or if you're not familiar with that, look in the show notes and you can download a free Bagua e-kit. And then identify which area connects to you or who or what you're thankful for. So see which area calls out to you, connected to this note of thanks that you've written. And then place the note with your object in that area of your home or that area of your bedroom. And again, if you need help, you can check out our free Bagua e-kit.
And then a bonus tip would be to choose the paper or the pen to match that color of that particular bagua that you've chosen. So this adds another layer of meaning. So remember how I mentioned the wealth area, for instance, if that's your area that you want to focus on, abundance, then you would choose either a purple piece of paper or a purple pen. And we can actually go in a little bit more detail into a gratitude placement guide, if you will. So we can move through all of the areas of the Bagua one by one. And I think while we read through them, maybe spend some time to see which one stood out for you and which one really resonated. I would try to get you to pick one area for this exercise. Often Angie and I say, oh, you can pick one or two. Just pick one this time to really kind of focus your gratitude into one area of your life. And we'll talk about each area. We'll give you also the color associated with that area. So the first area that we will start with will be family, and it is called Shun, or it is also in our book called Growth. And that area is obviously for things all around the family. It can do with starting with new beginnings, starting something new. And you could obviously do something around being grateful for your family. And the color is green.
The next area is one to look at if you are grateful for your abundance and all that you have and for the financial health that you do have. And this is related to the abundance area of the Bagua mandala, also known as the wealth area. And in Chinese, that's shun. And the color related to that is purple.
And then the next area is you'll be grateful for helpful people in your life. And it also is associated with male energy. So father, grandfather, brother, husband, or it could just be simply about the people that are helpful, that have been there for you, that support you. And that area is also called Chen. And the color associated with that is gray.
The next area is called Dway, or in our book, we called it reflection. And it's the area of the Bagua that is colored white. So the color associated is white. And this is a place that you could focus on. You could place your note and your object and do your ritual in this area. If you're grateful for your children, your grandchildren, or your fur babies, your pets. And this is a really wonderful one to focus on. If you really feel gratitude towards like the things that you create, that your descendants that you have and your the next generation.
The next area is called Gun, also referred to as knowledge or self knowledge. I believe in our book we call it insight. And you could use this to be grateful for things like your spiritual practice, your meditation practice, maybe your knowledge or the skills that you have. And it really does focus on that self awareness and having that. So and the color associated is a dark blue.
The next area that you may want to focus on for your gratitude ritual is called inspiration in our book. And it's also known as the fame and reputation area. It's the area associated with the color red. In Chinese, it's called Li. And this is if you have this feeling of gratitude towards how you're seen, that you're visible, that you are grateful for the success that you have, and how you're able to be a beacon or a light for your community. So this would be a great area to work on if you are grateful for that, or if you want to embody more of that kind of energy.
And the next area you could be grateful for is your career or your life path or your purpose. If that's something that resonates with you, it is the area that is called Kan in Chinese. In our book, it's referred to as wisdom. And it does have to do with all of these sort of things of your life path. Basically, often it's just summed up in career, but there's so many other levels to it. You could be grateful for the wisdom that you have, for the things that you've learned and all that, your life's knowledge that you've gleaned from, your work in the world. It could be very simple around that. You don't have to be thankful for, your job. It's more than that, right? Although you can be grateful for your job. The color associated with it is black.
And second to last area of the Bagua mandala for your gratitude ritual that you can investigate is if you have gratitude for the females in your life, like your mother or your motherhood or your role as a mother, your grandmother, your sister or sisters, or your wife. And this is the area of the Bagua mandala called Kun in Chinese. It's also known as partnership or relationship. In our book, we call it nurture. And this is related to the color pink. So you could focus on this area. And, as that little bonus, you could use pink as your pen color as part of your ritual.
And then the last area is actually the center. And it is referred to as the Tai Chi. In our book, we refer to it as harmony. And it is often called or associated with health and well-being. And that really is because it's about unity. I think many people believe and feel that your health is one of the most important things. And it really is central. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. So I think many people put that as being that all encompassing, but you can think of that center as being harmonious, being unified in your entire life. It is also the area that if you are thankful for something that maybe we didn't list, maybe falls outside of these little categories that we have, it is the one that encapsulates all of the other as well. And so it is the color that is associated with it is yellow. So just to close, first of all, we hope that this ritual helped you to feel more connected with gratitude because it can be sort of an abstract concept. And, a lot of people kind of talk about these things and throw these words around, and sometimes they don't mean a lot. But this is why we have this practice of Feng Shui. So if we can take these concepts, sometimes abstract concepts, ones that we really want to work with, and plug them into physical things that we can do in our home, it's really helpful. It really does bring it into kind of tangible manifestation ability. So I would say if you are curious about the Bagua and you're not sure about what those areas are, definitely download the e-kit that we have, or of course, buy our book if you don't already have it, because we have a detailed chapter on first of all the areas of the Bagua, and second of all, how to lay the Bagua if you're curious and you're not sure.
So thank you from all of us. We are very grateful for each of you. For our listeners, we wouldn't be here without you. And I'm grateful for Laura. And I know she's grateful for me. And thank you. And we hope that everyone has a wonderful holiday in the States. And thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Holistic Spaces podcast. You can tune in every Monday for a new episode. If you like our podcast, you could share it with others. You could subscribe. You could leave a review. We love seeing the reviews. So hopefully you'll leave us a review. And you can always support us by checking out our courses. So we have a Feng Shui certification program that runs every year. We teach people to become feng shui practitioners. If you want to dive deep, we have that available. We also have a mini course available now that we do every year for the Lunar New Year. We're welcoming in the energy of the fire horse for 2026, and we just put up our new Lunar New Year reset package. So it has a bunch of self-study material, plus it culminates in a live gathering just before Lunar New Year. So we hope you'll check that out. All of this is available. Look at our show notes for any links, or you could visit mindfuldesignschool.com. You can also join our mailing list and have all of this information go straight into your inbox. That's mindfuldesignschool.com/join. There's an area that you can opt in for our newsletter list. It's mindfuldesignschool.com/join. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week.